If you were to go from 100k to a million, what you should do, I think 100% engage with your audience. Start going live, do live streams. That was the key for me. That's what changed the game, because I started going live at 100k, and then that's when I just grew exponentially. When I realized that I can actually make a career out of this, was when I did a collab with Disney. If you do paid ads, that will mess up your algorithm forever, in my opinion. Especially on TikTok, the algorithm will notice that you are paying for ads, so that they will dim your videos down so that you can pay for more ads so that they can get views. The best thing to do is just grow organically.
You've got over 1 million followers, or 1.5 million on TikTok?
On TikTok, yeah.
Yeah, and just about 200,000 on Instagram.
340 now. I think I gained 230,000 followers in 8 days, which was insane.
How do you do that? You got to tell us the formula.
Yeah, so I think it just comes down to...
Welcome back to Take a Seat. Today we have an international rising star.
You're not saying it right. I want to tell you to say it. International Jollof speaker. The greatest doctor to ever grace the planet. The one and only Dr. Abo. International speaker.
Bro, it's my podcast, man.
It doesn't matter whether it's your podcast. Now it's my podcast. This is now the Dr. Abo show. You understand?
Man got hijacked after 70 plus episodes.
It doesn't matter. 70 plus, 100, 500. This is now the Dr. Abo show. Do you understand? And my name is Dr. Abo, the one and only. International speaker. Are you still speaking?
Hey, I thought, like, have you won an award or something?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a Jollofice degree. 13 years of age, I graduated. I have 36 degrees. How many do you have?
Bro, I got a degree in accounting and finance.
1 degree, you see? You see that nonsense? 1 degree to my 37.
Bro, I own a business.
I own 67 businesses.
No.
67.
Name one of them.
I have a Jollofice factory.
Okay.
I'm only joking. Bro. Listen, thank you so much. I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Okay, so Dr. Abu, aka Ephraim Lisk.
Yes.
Lovely to have you on the show, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Do you know what I find not unusual, but the way how different your characters are? In person, people got to know that you're one of the most respectful, well-spoken, your etiquette, like in terms of just down to thank you for the water, by the way.
Thank you.
No one even says that. Do you know what I mean? It's just something that they expect. But you're so well-mannered, but then you crack into this character. And obviously the first time I saw you was actually on a speaker stage just about a week ago or so. Yeah. So I grabbed you because I was like, this guy has got something about him. He's got some different energy. And you've got your glasses on and you made like... We came back to this reunion sort of get together with the speaking school. So I learned how to speak. You just owned it up there like it was nothing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Like, where does this difference come from?
Well, I think it comes down to the glasses, I think. It's almost like it's like a Superman, Clark Kent type of situation where it's like, when I put on the glasses, it's almost like it's a barrier, so I feel like I can just be a completely different person, like a Jekyll and Hyde even. And I think, it's just more a case of just letting myself go, expressing myself, just having fun.
Absolutely. And do you think that, everybody should have that one thing that they because it's almost like what I'm seeing here is you take the pressure off yourself.
Yeah. And
you put it onto the glasses.
Yes.
So it's like you can laugh at the glasses or not laugh at the glasses, but you're not laughing at me. Like, you don't take things personally.
100%. I think that's what it is. When I do put the glasses on, it's more a case of everyone is laughing at Dr. Abu. Everyone is sort of just having fun with him. Yeah. He's just a completely different person, if that makes sense. And I think it does take the pressure off, 100%. And I think that's what I've, like, every time I do Dr. Abu in person or on my lives or in videos, I literally go into it thinking, this is a completely different person, completely different character. So I would say it's definitely down to just the pressure of it,
I think you can relate that to a lot of things, actually, because in the past, I've worked for Barclays and I've worked for McDonald's. Yeah. And people go, why do you work for McDonald's? Like, people speak to you rudely or throw a burger at you. Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm like, well, you didn't throw a burger at me. You threw a burger at
the badge.
The McDonald's badge. Like, and people used to take stuff personally on a shift,
Yeah.
for example, but it's just like, hey, why are you taking it personally? You
Mhm.
work for McDonald's. All they're
Yeah.
seeing is McDonald's behind it. They're
Exactly.
not seeing you as a person. They don't
Exactly.
know you as a person. And sometimes when you do take things personally, it stops you from getting ahead.
100%,
You know?
100%. I say this to people all the time. Just don't take things personally, because when most of the time when people say things online, they're saying it as a reflection of what's going on in their own life or what they're going through. So if someone just sort of slates you online saying, "Oh, you're this, you're that, you're that," most of the time it's just because they're going through stuff themselves. So I think if you have that perspective in life where you don't take things personally from what someone was saying, you know, you'll live a better life.
Absolutely.
Stress-free life.
Yeah. So you get so you've got over 1 billion views, you know, and interactions. You've got over 1 million followers, you know. I think you got 1.5 million on TikTok.
On TikTok, yeah.
Yeah, and just
1.5 on TikTok.
about 200,000 on Instagram.
It's actually 340 now. 340 now. Yeah, it's gone up. It's gone up. Yeah.
Didn't you do that in like 8 days or something?
Yeah, so I think I gained 220 or 30,000 followers in 8 days, which was insane.
How do you do that?
To be honest, it's just
You got to tell us the formula.
Yeah, so I think it just comes down to consistency. To at the end of the day, just knowing what people want. And I think for a long time, so how my content works is that I did short videos. So when I was growing, when I had like 5,000, 10,000, I was doing short videos, maybe 10-second videos, and I never used to speak. So it just used to be Dr. Abu in the blue suit, but he never used to say anything. And that transitioned and evolved to me starting to speak on camera, etc. But the accent wasn't as how it is now, you know. It used to be a sort of accent where you would never even think that's me or Dr. Abu. But it took practice to get that accent. And then that transitions to just longer skits. So it transitioned from 1 minute skits to 2 minute skits to 3 minutes to sometimes even 4 minute skits. And then I sort of backpedaled and started to do shorter videos because I realized on Instagram, people like just short videos where they can just go and then they can laugh and then just scroll. So I think that's what helped me grow in the past couple of weeks. It's just helped me grow astronomically.
So do you think that society is changing and their attention span is less?
100%. Yes, 100%. I think what society is looking for now is interesting because I think they're looking for authenticity as well. So they're looking for just fresh, natural content that they don't see often, if that makes sense, or they don't see again and again. And I think when it comes to my sort of page, is like the combination of words I use and stuff like that, they don't usually see often. So that's why I think people enjoy my page. But I also, it's interesting because I think there's a certain type of formula that I stick to. So at the end of my videos, I say the same thing again and again, something that people like, which is the beating you will save. So when I say that, it's like people know, it's like they can come back to the video and know that it's going to be a video that they can smile at, laugh at.
It's your signature.
It's my signature, yeah. So I think that's what helped me in terms of building a brand, I would say, in terms of building something that people can just come back and say, yeah, that's the guy that does the beating you receive. So I think that's just the key.
Where did that come from?
It just happened, to be honest with you. Like, I think I did it in one of my old videos. So like even before TikTok on Snapchat, I said the beating you receive because, you know, African parents, they always have that like, that vibration in their voice. So my parents, I think one time, it wasn't the beating, but it was something, they were saying something and I heard the vibration. And I was like, you know what, let me try it with the beating. And then everyone just found it hilarious.
Yeah.
Everyone just found it hilarious. So I just continued to do it.
Do you know what I love in your skits?
Yeah.
It's just like, when you're like, eh?
Yeah.
When you drop them little sounds in,
yeah.
because as Asian parents, they always have a little something similar.
Yeah.
But the way you just drop them, like them little ones, just like I'm telling you, bro.
Do you know what's crazy? I didn't even realize I was doing it because I've been making videos for a while now, and I only realized I was doing it in the last 2 weeks when people was like, "That is hilarious."
Yes.
That S sound.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wait, do I do it?" And then I look back at all of my videos, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I do in all of them. it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
And then, but well, obviously now I do it, way more. But yeah, like before, it was just a natural thing to me.
So the natural question here right now is, what do your parents think of this? Because a lot of parents can be just like, what's this stupidness that you're doing?
Yeah.
What's this stupid thing you're doing online? Like, stop making a fool out of yourself.
Mhm.
And especially the way you do your skits and you make it apparent that obviously they're very serious. Like, I've gone to school with a lot of, African sort of people, and I'm not being racist or anything or segregating, but people are just naturally like, I must be good in mathematics. I must be good in the sciences. And they're very articulate, you know what I mean? That's what my crowd's been like. So for you to do something which is a little bit off topic like that, how was the reaction?
Well, in terms of my parents, I would say the reaction was quite. They were never not supportive, if that makes sense. It's especially my mum. Like, she was never, "Don't do that," or "Why are you doing that?" Obviously, when she hears certain things, like when Dr. Abu says, "Shut up," like my mum doesn't like when I say "shut up" or anything like that. But in terms of the actual skits, I think no, they've been very supportive. I think they understand that it's obviously comedy, it's satire, it's not necessarily what happens in real life, because my parents, my mum, she's very strict, but she's not abusive or anything like that at all. So yeah, they understand that it's a joke, and it's just something that people can just laugh at.
When is a joke not a joke anymore? So certain people and there's certain comedians online will have a joke. And I was watching a podcast here on the way, and it's a very big influencer. They got about 7.8 million views on this podcast, so it was really good. And this comedian said, "Look, I'm glad you're setting up this show because it's a safe space for us to speak." A producer come up and said to me, "It would be funny somebody getting raped on there." And when they said that, it was just a bit like, even the comedian go, "Look, it would be way more funnier if we didn't include that and we done something else."
Exactly.
So when is a joke not a joke? Because you're a comedian, and I know your style is different, but certain people would joke about certain topics, and in that room it feels like everybody will laugh and it's okay, but sometimes it's a very harsh topic as well, and certain people get cancelled for this as well. So where do you see this in this rhythm of what you can and can't say, just in, because the goal is just to make someone laugh. Because somebody could be going through mental health and a bad time.
Exactly.
So the goal is that. But what is ethical and not ethical in this game?
Well, I think when it comes to that, it's just it comes down to your character and what you stand for as a person. I think if you understand and acknowledge that, what you say might harm someone in terms of their mentally, or they might take it the wrong way, then it wouldn't be a good idea to do it. Like, there's been some videos, even me, where I've made it and I've looked at it and I'm just like, I don't know whether I should release this, because some people may take it, the wrong way. So I just think, especially as a comedian, you need to understand and sort of know, certain videos you can't do, certain ideas you shouldn't do, and just keep it as respectful as possible. That's just me. I know some comedians are different. They're more on the edge of certain content and what they say, but with me, I always try and keep it respectful. I always have the best intentions in mind, because I don't really do this to you know cause controversy or anything like that. As you said, I just want to make people laugh, but I want to do it the right way. That's why I don't swear in my videos. I don't
So you keep it kid friendly.
I keep it kid friendly, but it's funny because I get a lot of the older audience as well. Like I would say most of my audience is actually 25 plus.
Really?
Yeah, on Instagram, which is interesting. So
that's interesting. So
yeah,
how do you play to your audience, and like how do you serve them? Like, because you got to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So people don't know this at home, but there's a bunch of research you're doing behind the camera.
100%, yeah.
You're looking at analytics. So talk us a little bit about analytics and how you interpretate that into, right, I have to do this more because this people and this type of person's watching, and how I can grow that audience.
Yeah.
Because this is my people.
So I think it comes down to the construction of your content even. So when you look at analytics, that will obviously affect how you sort of make content. So I look at analytics like this. What's my main target audience? My main target audience, I would say, is obviously African people or Asian or ethnic groups. So I would obviously attain to them, but I would also make sure that I have content that appeases everyone, if that makes sense. And in terms of older or younger people, I think that comes down to the characters I use as well. So Dr. Abu is a 43-year-old African father.
Yeah.
So people around that age group would tend to sort of relate to that because they're like, oh, I would do that, or I wouldn't do that. And Ephraim, in the sort of aspect of the character, he's a teenager or maybe 20, 21, so probably similar age to myself. And all the people my age would relate to that because they're like, oh, parents,
Yeah.
look at Dr. Abu, he's like my dad, or blah blah blah. And then there's people that will relate to it because they're like, yeah, that's how my dad used to treat me, or this and that. And then the Abu Senior, which is the grandpa, that's just someone everyone can sort of relate to because he's like the above father figure that everyone can sort of love. And so the reason it's interesting actually, because the reason I introduced Abu Senior initially is because I was getting a lot of DMs from people saying like, Dr. Abu is great, but like he's so hard on Ephraim, like he's going so hard, and they wanted a sort of balance. So I said to myself, you know what, you're right, because if I just keep on going Dr. Abu just screaming at Ephraim every single day, it becomes less of a joke and, as you said, more of a he's just screaming at him, screaming at him, screaming at him. So I wanted to find a balance, and that's why I brought Abu Senior to sort of defend Ephraim.
How do you keep coachable? Keep yourself coachable, because that's from feedback you've got.
Yeah.
And you've taken that and go, how do I go back to the drawing board, rather than, what do you guys know? I'm the main star here. Let me keep doing my thing.
You can't be like that. You can't in life. You can't be someone who thinks he knows it all. No matter whether you're a millionaire or whether you have achieved so much, way more than anyone, you can still learn from anyone. So I think and especially the supporters, the people that are watching, they're the best people to get feedback from because they are genuine fans of your content. They enjoy it. So you have to be a sponge in this industry, because if you're not, how are you going to improve your content? How are you going to gain followers, appease to them? So no, I would definitely say you just have to be a sponge. You have to be sort of have that humility to say to yourself, I don't know it all. Let me listen to my supporters, or let me listen to any ideas that people may have, because that's what I do, and I think it's benefited greatly, because if I didn't listen to them, the Abu Senior character wouldn't be a thing, and people love, like, that's people's favorite character. Most people I ask, they say Abu Senior is my favorite character because he's just a warm-hearted, loving,
Relatable,
character.
because my dad's the army general, but my granddad used to be, I think he's army general, but to me, he was the nicest guy ever. He goes, leave Sean alone. Like, Sean's this, let me protect him. What does he know? Let me tell him off for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's so relatable when I hear that as well. Ephraim, out of these over 1 billion views that you've currently got, I'm pretty sure that you're not getting good comments as well. I'm sure you're getting some hate.
Of course.
You're getting quite a bit of hate. What is some of the hate that people put in the comments?
It's interesting. I would say, obviously, you get the normal ones, the N words, monkey emojis, etc. You get a lot of that, but I think for me, in terms of those, I'm not. It doesn't affect me at all, because when I was playing football, I used to get all types of stuff in person. People used to scream because I was a goalkeeper, so I used to stand there, and there's people behind the stand saying, "You effing monkey, you blah 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 blah, you this, you that." And I was quite young at the time as well. As you know, I was quite young playing way. I was playing with the adults. So no, it was, so in terms of the comments that I receive and all that, it doesn't affect me at all. Doesn't affect me.
How do you have that thick skin? Because there's a lot of kids right now, like, they can go to school and they might be a little bit overweight, and they can come home and go, I got fat shamed today, or body shamed today, what they call it. I'm never going to go there again. Like, they see it as sort of failure and let other people's opinion stick on them. How do you not take that personally and just let it go through your head? I mean, I'm sure it does affect you in some way, shape,
Yeah,
or form,
listen,
but
yeah.
how do you overcome that?
I think, to be honest, I think it's hard to. Well, how do I overcome it? First and foremost, I would say, in general terms, is tough. Like, I want people to understand that it's tough to hear those type of things. Like, I'm not gonna say that it doesn't affect me or it doesn't affect anyone, and you should just have a thick skin and just get through it. Look, first is acknowledgement, and the acknowledgement is that yes, these comments are obviously hurtful to whoever hears them. But I think the the power of overcoming it comes from the ability to get from a point of adversity and overcome it and get to a point of confidence. So what I did was go from hearing those comments or facing adversity and saying to myself, I'm going to get through this, and actually achieving that and noticing, yeah, so I can do it. So I think when you go through a phase of that, of going from point A to point B and facing adversity, you will have the confidence to do whatever you need to do in this life, because you will say to yourself, I've done it before, so I can do it again. So I think that's what I've done. I think is just that initial conflict, mental conflict that I was facing, I just got through it. And I said to myself, look, if I can get through facing it in person, I can get through it online. So that's why it doesn't faze me.
Do you think the haters make you?
Um, no, I don't think they make me. I think for me, I wouldn't say the haters make me. I would say I don't look at it and be like, yeah, I'm riled up. I'm gonna prove them wrong. I think for me, it's just my intentions are sort of different. I don't do it to to prove people right or wrong. I just do it because it's something I love doing, and it's something that I have from when I was younger. I've always said that I want to be the best in everything that I do. I want to be successful. I want to build a legacy. So I'm just continuing on the path that I have set for myself. But the haters or people commenting, it doesn't really mean anything to me in that aspect of things.
Amazing. So tell me, where does sorry, the question's gone in my head now.
That's
I
okay.
wanted to really ask you this question one
That's
sec.
okay.
Um,
So yeah, the haters are there. Hey, it's interesting that you asked that, because that does affect a lot of influencers. I've realized I've spoken to a lot of influencers, and they a lot of influencers choose to respond. You know, they'll make whole videos saying, "Oh, blah 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 blah." They'll pinpoint their page. They'll look at their profile picture, saying, "Look, you can't even speak because you this blah blah blah." And I always say to them, "Look, don't respond. There's no need to respond. Like that's what they want." Most of the haters you see online, as I said to you previously, they're just not happy within themselves. That's probably why they are looking to hate.
putting their sort of projections onto other people. It's just
Exactly.
like when we're doing the property side, people are like, oh, you're buying up all the houses. Oh, it's because of you. I can't get a house. But it really is, they haven't done it.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
couldn't do it. So they want to just give you hate. Then it makes them feel better because they've chopped your tree down.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And I think the best thing to do is just not respond. But you have to be okay. As I said, it's difficult. That's why I wanted to say, in general terms, I understand how difficult it is to not respond. Because I've had to go through a lot of mental work
Yeah.
to restrain myself from seeing a comment, because you do see them, and every influence is the same. You see all the comments, you just choose not to respond, and that takes a lot of restraint and a lot of mental work that you have to do.
And obviously, that's your brand, isn't it?
Exactly.
You know, if you respond in an adverse way, it affects you more than them, and that's what they're probably trying to do.
Exactly.
Because when they get a reaction, either the algorithm or the platform knows that you've said something adverse and wants to delete and violate you, or otherwise other people said, hey, I like this character there, but look how he's talking to people here. They're not going to see the person who tried to make you react, and then in a way that hater wins.
They just want to see you sweat at the end of the day, because in their head they're just like, nah, these people are too, they just need to see them sweat, so just don't give them the opportunity to see that.
What does a normal week look like for you now?
Yeah.
Because you're a full-time content creator,
Yeah.
right? So like, what does that look like?
And it's interesting. So these past few weeks have been a bit different. But in general terms, and I'll explain why. But in general terms, I'd wake up. I usually wake up quite early because when I was playing football, I used to wake up around 4:30 a.m. 5.
Oh.
And I used to obviously travel to football, train. So I still wake up quite early on a normal day. And now I think I go gym, exercise. I do all the physical things I need to do, in the morning or early, so that I can sort of relax my mind and sort of get on with the creative aspect of things in the afternoon or evening. So I would say, yeah, I wake up 5 or 5:30, to obviously do what I need to do, have a shower, brush my teeth, etc. Have breakfast, and then, as I said, I'll go gym or I'd go on a run, whichever one. Usually for about an hour if I go on a run, or if I'm at the gym, I have a PT. So we would go gym early. It depends, 8:30, 7, sometime in the morning. And then I'll come back, respond to my emails, have a few meetings with my team. And then I would literally just get writing. I would start making content, start making the scripts. And then I would sort of either make the actual content, or if I need to take a trip down to check out the shop, the fragrances, or etc. Whatever I need to do during that day, I would do. But most of the time, I'm just making content. To be honest with you,
How do you keep your content fresh and not too repetitive? Like, like how do you think of that? Like, how do you
Yeah.
create all of that?
I think it's interesting because someone asked me this the other day, and it's hard to put into words because what I do is I literally just sit down and just think. Like, I just sit down. I don't have any screens on or anything. I just literally just think, and I would be there most of the times either on my phone or my notes, or is with a pen and paper, and I just think, okay, cool. This would be a good word. I haven't used these word combinations before, so I would put that down. So I literally have a notes that says Dr. Abu words to say, and it would say something like, "You discombobulated giraffe" or something. But I would just have that there, and then I would have the actual idea, like when African parents, when you come home late or something. So I would put that in one section. I put the words in another section, and then I already know the format of the video. As I said, always ends the same. The beating you receive. So that's there, and it always sort of starts the same sort of. It's either one or three. So it's either, so you have decided to go down the path of, or it's, hey, Um, Mr. Superstar, long time no speak, or it's whichever one. So I would sort of combine all of that with the new stuff that I've already thought of, and then merge that into a video. And it's a format that is almost like it's a format that struck gold because people enjoy it. People enjoy it every time, and they sort of know what they're getting. They know it's different, but they know what they're sort of similarly getting every time, which is good. So yeah, that's how I essentially do it.
How do you deal with if a video doesn't perform that well?
For me, it doesn't matter whether the video performs well or not. Like, I was shadow banned. It's funny you say that because I was shadow banned start of this year, and my videos were only getting just under 100K. They were only getting just under 100 on TikTok, and I just didn't care. Like, they would take me 2 hours to make, 2.5 hours to make, and I just wouldn't care because I do it for the. If I can make one person laugh, that's all that matters to me. I don't do it for the views or anything like that.
How do you know when you're shadow banned?
You can tell. So if you look at your analytics, what is meant to be is that the For You page, people, is meant to be maybe 80% of people from the For You page, and then maybe 20% of people that are reoccurring, so they come back to your page, etc., or they click on your profile. But for me, during that whole 3-month period or 2-month period, it was about 80% of people coming back or searching my name up, Dr. Iban. It was only 15-20% from the For You page. So that's how you know you're shadow banned. And I think that month, so just before I got shadow banned, I think they took me off of live. So they banned my live stream for about maybe a week. I don't know why. I think they said they saw something that they didn't want to see, or something like that. So that's how I knew I was shadow banned. But as I said, it wasn't a thing for me where I wasn't panicking, saying, "Oh my gosh, this is over. This is the end," because I was confident that I would be unshadow banned and everything would be back to normal. And I wasn't doing it for the views in the first place. I was just doing it because I love making videos. I love going live. I think going live is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because it's really enjoyable. I love interacting with people, speaking to people.
Do
I
you
love people's reactions as well.
do you ever collab with other people on the lives and stuff as well?
I would say yes, but I've never organized to collab with someone on live. Like I would run into creators on. I've run into a lot of creators on live stream, but I've never organized a collab. I've never actually collabed with anyone on my page. Funny enough, never.
Oh, really?
Like on my TikTok. So it's interesting. Hopefully one day soon. Yeah.
100. And like, if you are shadow banned, somebody's saying my content's not doing well, is there a way to reset that? Do you take a break from it and stop posting? Or do you carry on posting until one day it just starts popping off again?
In my opinion, I think you just keep posting. I think you keep posting until because the algorithm is a very interesting thing. No one knows how it thinks because it changes every 5 minutes. So I think the best thing you can do is just continue posting. Let the algorithm know that you are not a threat, if that makes sense. Not a threat to the platform. Just keep on posting, and I think they will allow you to get back to speed eventually.
Is it just Instagram and TikTok that you post on?
No. So I post on obviously Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat as well.
Okay.
And YouTube Shorts. So yeah, I'm hoping to get the YouTube Shorts, up and running soon in terms of like my views. So I have 10,000 followers on YouTube now. I'm hoping to get that, to increase the followers. I have almost 100,000 on Snapchat. So that's going quite
How does
well as
Snapchat
well.
work? Because I haven't heard that one too much before.
Yeah, so on Snapchat there's this thing called Spotlight where you can just post your reels. So you can post the same reels that you do on the other platforms, and if your reels do really well, then obviously you'll get followers and you can actually get paid for it as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you have a certain amount of views on Snapchat, they can pay you for your Snap views as well. So I think you need 15 million views in the month to get paid on Snap, and all you need to do is 20 snaps, and then they'll pay you like a ridiculous amount of money just to do 20 snaps.
So you can just reload your Insta reel on there.
Literally that. And then if you have a certain amount of views, you literally 20 snaps. So take a picture, boom, that's one snap. You just do that 20 times a day, pay you like a couple £1,000s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. That's a top tip.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Does what platform pays you the most right now?
Pays me the most. Not Instagram. Instagram don't pay unless you do brand deals. I would say TikTok. Yeah, if we're talking about brand deals as well, then yeah, I would say TikTok. Yeah.
Okay, so you get a lot of people who approach you to
Yes,
collab.
yeah. And is good because you can sort of, when you get to a certain stage, you get to sort of pick and choose which brand deals you want to do. And obviously with me, I don't do any brand deals with vaping or smoking. It's funny because I get a lot of vaping offers, like brand deal offers, and they come to you with astronomical amounts of money, saying, look, we'll pay you this to do a brand deal. But with me, as I said, is my sort of morals on that is I can't promote vaping or smoking or anything like that to the younger generation or just anyone that's watching me. So that's why I don't do it.
Wow, I love that about you. I
Thank
mean, you're still, authentic self.
Thank you.
So this brings me on to, let's talk a little bit about your journey and what made the man, really. Let's go back to primary school, year 5, year 6.
Yeah.
Talk to me what's happening in your life, and then we go from there.
Well, I mean, year 5, year 6, I loved primary school. I absolutely loved primary school. It's one of my best sort of memories from my childhood. Still close friends with a lot of the people from primary school as well, which is good. But I wanted to. What did I want to become when I was younger? I think I wanted to become a sprinter, yeah, or like an athlete, or some sort of do something in sports. I think that's what I wanted to do. I don't think I knew exactly that I wanted to be a footballer, because I don't think I even truly said to myself, yeah, I'm going to become a footballer in year 5 or 6, because I wasn't in the sports team.
Really?
Well, I wasn't in the football sports team in year 5 or year 6 or in primary school at all.
What
So
was your personality like? Was you happy, bubbly? Was you the joker, class clown? What?
not in primary school. I was quite quiet in primary school.
Really?
Yeah, I was quite quiet in primary school. Obviously I had my group of friends, but I was one of the fastest as well. So that helped in terms of everyone sort of knew when it came to sports day or anything like that. Ephraim's there, you know what I mean? So I would say for me, it was just people knew me as sort of the fast guy in primary school. When it got to secondary school, that's when my personality sort of opened up a bit. I was known as I would say a funny guy in school, but I was still again very, very quiet in school. Um, and I actually ended up winning prom king in secondary school as well.
Really?
Yeah, so because I was one of those people that just gets along with everyone.
Yeah.
You know, the footballers, the people that play table tennis, the people that are just relaxing. I was just someone that just, I like talking to people most of the time, and yeah, I just like mingling. So
Did you get a good prom queen?
it's an interesting story with that. It's a very interesting story with that. So I asked someone to prom queen, to be my prom day, and it didn't actually end up happening because I think at the time I was the first person in the year to ask someone to go to prom, and she was a very pretty girl as well. So when it happened, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, Ephraim's going to prom with, let's just say X,
Yeah.
X," and I think she couldn't really, because this was during exams as well. So this was during our GCSEs. So this was like a intense sort of time, and everyone at break times, everyone was crowding her saying, "Oh, you're going to prom with Ephraim? Why are you going to prom with Ephraim? Are you only going to prom with him because he's a footballer or he's this or because at the time I played for QPR as well." So everyone was like, "Oh, like what's the situation?" Like everyone was just being nosy. So she came to me and she was just like, "Yeah, listen, I don't think we can go to prom together because I just need to focus on my GCSEs. I need to, you know." And I said, "Look, I honestly understand, honestly, because I did. There was no animosity or anything like that. I just said, yeah, 100%. Then I ended up winning prom king by myself, and then someone else obviously won prom queen. But yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. I didn't think I was gonna win prom king as well. I didn't think I was gonna win prom king, but it was good.
Few little successes there. Nice. Want to speak to you a little bit about relationships, but we'll talk a
Yeah.
little bit a
Yeah.
little bit later on in the podcast. But right now is how did you make that transition of you were good in athletics and all of a sudden you got into football? How did that happen?
So I was actually a sprinter. So I ran for Thames Valley Harriers. I was so I used to run competitively in the 200 meters and the long jump. I ran in the Olympic Stadium in the 2015 anniversary games. So just before Usain Bolt ran, actually,
Wow.
I ran the 4x1 100 meters, where we came like fourth, but we had four of the top 20 fastest people in the UK. So it was me and three other people, and we had the second fastest person in the UK as well. So we were going into it very confident.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it just didn't go to plan, but it was a really good experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
so I went first, and they had my sort of picture. You know when they're announcing the races, they had
Yeah.
my big picture on the screen and all that. I was so nervous; it was unbelievable because my parents was watching, and my dad is the biggest athletics fan like you'll
Wow.
ever meet. So he was just so excited. But yeah, it didn't go as planned. I think we messed up on the third leg a bit, but it was a good experience. And
What?
then from there, when I was 14, turning 15, that's when I signed for QPR. So I had to make a decision, and it was, do I continue running? Because especially with long jump as well, I was, I think, very close to represent, like going to try and represent England in the long jump. but I was a few meters off, or like a few centimeters off on the long jump. But my running coach, Jenny, she said you should try again, like in the next competition. But then that's when I told her I'm gonna stop running. I'm gonna stop doing athletics. I'm gonna do football full time. Like, as in, that's what I want to be.
That's a big
And
decision, you know.
it was a very, very big decision, and she was very upset. She was very, very upset. She tried everything to convince my mum and my family, but we said, obviously QPR is something that, and at that time, that's when I knew I wanted to become a footballer. So
How do you get comfortable at leaving things behind? Because that's almost like closing a chapter. Like,
yeah,
you've obviously taken some time. Like,
yeah,
when do you start secondary school? You're about 11 years old, isn't it?
yeah,
And the 2, 3, 4 years of your life, you've been consistently doing certain training for your running and your athletics.
yeah,
And then you realize you can transfer these talents into football.
yeah,
And obviously you think of, well, football, that's where the money is, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But how do you feel like, oh, I'm going to say bye to my coach, bye to all of my friends and colleagues, like, this is not going to be a routine anymore? How do you feel comfortable going, okay, I need to move on? Because for some people, that could be a job
Yeah.
that keeps them behind. And they don't want to leave that job because they're like, oh, but I love the people that I work with. And, everything's so, I know where everything is. Why should I go to the unknown? How do you make that decision?
Well, I think at the time, I didn't see it as a big of a deal, to be honest with you, because we wasn't training every day in athletics. It was more, I think we were training 2 or 3 times a week, because we were still quite young, so we were only training 2 or 3 times a week. And at the time, at the time, I just said football is what I wanted to do. So, and even though I said I wanted to be a sprinter, or I wanted to do something in sports, it wasn't a set. I 100% want to be a 200-meter sprinter or like a long jump. It was more a case of I was just doing it. It was something that I enjoyed, but I also liked football. And as my love for football grew stronger, that's when I was like, okay, I know for sure I want to be a footballer. And obviously, Queen's Park Rangers, humongous team. Something that I was actually at Watford before, on trial at Watford, and they were thinking of signing me, but they were sort of taking quite long because they already had a lot of keepers already, and they said to me they had someone that was representing England at the time, but they said that they didn't want to let me go. And that's when QPR came knocking and was just like, look, do you want to come here, basically? And it was closer to my house. QPR is more, so I just said, yeah, let me go to QPR. And that's when I just said, you know what, let me and I was in the development for QPR as well. So I didn't just go straight into the team. I was in the development squad, had to work my way up, and then eventually I got signed.
What is the development squad?
So the development squad is not the main squad, but it's the squad where it's like people come to sort of trial, if that makes sense. And if you're good enough, then you trial for the main academy squad, and then if they like you, they'll sign you. So I had to go through that whole process of going into the development and then improving myself, because I started football very late as well. All the technical skills and all that you learn when you're younger, that turned into muscle memory, I didn't obviously have, because I started football very late. I started at, I think, 12 or like 11, 12. So 2 years from starting football to getting signed to QPR, it was a very big and quick transition. But no, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I think, yeah, as I said, I went from the development into the academy and then signing for the team.
You mentioned your dad really liked athletics there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your parents? What do they do?
So my mum, she works in she works, I don't know whether she want me to say, because she's a very, very private person, but she works within the community, let's just say. My dad's actually retired, but he was an athlete. So he was in the army, and then he went into sports. So he was an athlete himself. He was a sprinter. So that's what they did. But he's obviously retired now. But yeah, they're both still here. Speak to both of them, of course. And yeah, that's essentially it. But
Sure.
for me, in terms of speaking about my family and all that, that's why I'm quite personal, to be honest with you. I'm quite a private person when it comes to that.
Where do we draw the line? Because like some people will show their wife, their kids, and
Yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. And there's some influencers like, no, that's
Mhm.
me, that's private. You're getting this from me, from my social media, and you know, I'm happy to show that, but I don't want to show you this other bit of my life. You know, I don't know who's watching,
Mhm.
you know, and stuff. So what is the right answer? Like, and
To be honest, I've always been like a very private person. To be honest with you, like that. So that's why when I started content, all my cousins and all that was like, "There's absolutely no way Ephraim has started TikTok and he's this, he's that." Because when I say the most private person, as in like I wouldn't even when I got signed for QPR, no one knew for like a whole month.
wow.
Yeah, I just didn't tell anyone because I was just like evil eye. I don't want people to know. I don't want people to sort of because I've seen it before. People will prey on your downfall. People will prey on your downfall.
Do you
And I
believe
think,
in evil eye?
well, in the context of the word evil eye, I believe in people praying for your downfall. Yeah, I
Do,
believe
do,
in people not wanting certain things to happen and just the negative energy. You know, that's why with me, it's just better if you just don't say anything, if that makes sense. Like if you have an achievement, don't say anything until it actually happens, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say I believe in that. I believe in just saying things when they actually happen or when they come to fruition. And when it comes to my parents, I think, look, I would definitely show they've been seen before.
yeah.
They've been seen before. It's not like I'm hiding them, but it's just like my mum doesn't want to be seen on camera at all. And that's understandable. You know, some people are just private people. And my dad, I think I'll show him when I hit 1 million followers on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show him because he's complete opposite. He's like, yeah, you know what I mean.
Let's
He doesn't
embrace
mind.
this.
He doesn't mind at all. Like even like the fragrance launch at my red carpet launch for the fragrance. I shot him. I said, shout out to the real Dr. Abu. He stood up. So he was at the front. The hook. He stood up. He's like, yeah. Everyone
Come
was
on.
screaming. I was just like, that is funny. But no, yeah, it's not like when I say I'm a private person, I am, but it's just to respect their boundaries as well. Like even on Snapchat, when I first started making content and everything, I only had 30 or 40 people on Snapchat. Like I wasn't someone who had a lot of people, was very known, you know, like around London or anything like that. So yeah, I would say it just comes down to boundaries.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out, because sometimes a lot of the way somebody turns out to be and in their life is a place from where they've seen their parents or their parents' influence.
Mhm.
So do you think your dad influenced you through this journey?
I wouldn't say so. Because I would say more my mum, to be honest with you. I grew up with, obviously I don't really want to get into it a lot, but I grew up with my mum, obviously, in the house. My dad wasn't really in the house as much, if that makes sense. So I would say my mum influenced me a lot in terms of how I'm a private person, in terms of my man, like just the way I conduct myself, etc. I would say that all came from my mum. You know, I have to give my mum credit because she was strict. Like for me, I didn't have any sleepovers. I've never had a sleepover when I was younger.
Fair.
Very rarely had anyone in the house in terms of like friends and all that. And obviously, I know that sounds like, oh, that's strict. You know, you let your, but I think it turned out for me. It turned out quite well because now I'm sort of understand the importance of working hard to get into a position where you can provide for your future family, etc. Just certain moves in life. But I know that can very easily turn into that can go down another path. You know, if you deprive your children from doing certain things, that can easily go down another path of like you start sneaking out, you start doing other things that you're not meant to be doing, smoking. So I think my mum was an excellent balance in terms of um, allowing me to have the freedom to because when I was making content as well, she never said once, don't do it, blah, blah, blah. If I need to use the sitter room or anything like that, no, use it 100%. She would be quiet. She wouldn't say anything. So it was the perfect balance of allowing me to explore what I needed to sort of explore in terms of my career, in terms of what I wanted to do. Football, she supported me 100%. She was that mum with the umbrella in the corner of the pitch, you know, just watching every game.
Oh.
No, so that's why I think for me, it's important to have that balance. Because I
Mhm.
know, as you said, if you're too strict and you're too sort of, you can't do this, you can't do this, that's when resentment starts happening for a lot of kids and a lot of people. They've gone through phases where they're just like, look, I'm not gonna listen to my parents at all. I'm not gonna listen because they don't let me do anything. Sort of like what Dr. Ab this is so it's interesting because I was actually speaking to my brother about this, and I said, with African parents or a lot of ethnic parents, Dr. Abu is sort of he's very similar in that regard where he just doesn't let certain things. Oh, you need to become a doctor. You need to become an engineer. They want you to do certain things. They want you to follow in their footsteps. Um, but yeah, with my mom, it was quite different. I think it was quite different. She was very strict in terms of, as I said, um, sleepovers, stuff like that, being safe outside.
Well, I really love your mum for that,
Thank you.
because I do believe, well, yeah, there's Western culture and
Mm,
society, but what is the benefit in this? You know what I mean? Like, your mum's obviously sort of recognized, I'm not saying it's going to be good, bad, ugly, because you get guardians and parents watching over
yeah,
kids as well when you sleep over. But this is where things go wrong. You're young, you're
yeah,
vulnerable, you're in an environment where, hey, I don't want to trust my child with anybody else.
yeah,
And if it goes in another household, they have different sets of rules.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, your belief system starts changing that, hey, they can do this. Why can't I do
yeah.
this? And it just resets you. And she was like really protective over that and going, no, this is the rules in my house.
To be honest, look, what I will say is this, because I forgot to mention as well. That was heavily influenced by my siblings. Very influenced by my siblings. My siblings, especially, were the ones, because my brother H, he's a very creative person as well,
Okay.
um, and so even when it came to me quitting football or stopping football and going into content creation full time, he was someone that was very influential in that decision process, because it was a case of, cool, what was I gonna do when I stopped playing football? Like, was I gonna do content full time? Was I gonna go into something else? Like, what was I gonna do? And I think H, my older brother, and all my siblings, to be fair, they sort of was, as I said, very influential in that decision process. Because with African parents, just a lot of African parents, they, at the end of the day, they want you they want the best for you. So they will advise you on what they think is best, or their own experiences. And I think my older siblings, they sort of explained that there's other ways to sort of do things. There's other ways to make it in life other than just going to university
Hmm.
or going to, get a doctorate degree, or something like that. So massive credit to my siblings as well.
So tell us, that you're in QPR, you've passed your trials and you've got into the team. What's happening then?
It's going well. It's going really well. I'm finally getting, professional goalie training. I'm sort of in the team. I'm learning the game properly, from the inside and out.
Hmm.
I'm playing against teams such as Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, yeah, West Ham, all the great teams. So I'm loving it.
Hmm.
I'm absolutely loving
So
it.
tell us more about the position that you were playing in, which is a goalie, because I haven't
Yeah,
really heard many aspects from a goalie. Because what does everybody want to be? Everybody wants to be a striker
yeah,
or a decent midfielder, the person who's feeding that person,
yeah,
doing the free kicks,
yeah.
scoring the goals. But probably the most important person on that pitch is the goalkeeper, because
100%,
there's only one of you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you've got a massive task,
yeah,
because you can either make it or break it. You
yeah,
can save a penalty and get you through to the final and win the championship,
yeah.
or you can let the goal in that everyone going, you let that silly go in. Look at the pressures of that. Talk to us from the mind of a goalie. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I think to be a goalkeeper, you first and foremost, you have to have thick skin. You have to have thick skin, because if you don't, and you have to be able to concentrate as well. Because if you have 1 second or one lapse of concentration, that's a goal. It's not like a defender or a midfielder or a striker where you miss a chance and you get to go again. 5 seconds later, you can score. As a keeper, if you make a mistake, most of the time it's a goal, and then the whole game dynamic changes. So it's the most important position on the pitch. It's the hardest position on the pitch as well in terms of the mental aspect. As I said to you before, you have fans screaming at you. I've been in very high pressure games, like high pressure situation games, FA Youth Cup, where we're playing against massive teams. I said Chelsea, all that. So it's very, very tough mentally, but it's good because you get that thrill of like the whole team is sort of relying on you, if that makes sense. And for me, I was a keeper from when I was younger. Like I never played any other position. I just went straight in the goal.
Why
And
was that?
it's funny because the first ever time I ever went to any sort of team, I was in my cage, like around my house. It's like a football cage, and I just went in goal. Like I used to play with the big men that just used to come down every day, and I just went in goal. I think they just said go and goal, go and goal. So I just went in goal, and then I just started just playing. And I think a Sunday League scout approached me, and my mum was there as well. As I said, my mum has been through the whole process from Sunday League all the way to pro, all the way to what I'm doing now. And he said, "Look, you should come down and sort of train in goal for our team." So I did that, and then from there, I just sort of loved being in goal. I love the thrill of saving the ball, of just diving, because I was quite athletic as well, as I said, just diving. And I used to do long jumps, so I had quite a long spring as well. So that thrill of knowing that everyone relies on you, saving the ball, commanding the area, etc. It's just something that I love doing. So that's why I became a keeper.
Tell us more about some of the drills that you have to do, because it sounds really impactful being a keeper because you're throwing yourself on the floor a lot of time. How do you do that safely?
Well, you just need to know how to dive. So if you know the proper techniques on how to dive properly, so you dive forwards, you don't dive backwards, you don't dive on your back. Use your arms as protection. If you know how to dive using the proper techniques, then it should be okay.
What's the
And
average?
for me, actually, it's funny you say that because for me, as I said, I started very late, so I had to learn all of that as I was sort of doing it. I was in Cooper learning fundamentals that you're meant to learn when you're 9, 10, 11. And that's what ultimately, I think that was the reason ultimately they said, look, we're not going to extend your contract when I eventually left QPR and I went to Aldershot. Because in that meeting, they said, look, you're a fantastic goalkeeper, absolutely fantastic. But I think you are just, in terms of technical ability, we just feel like you're a year or two behind where you should be. And that's not down to you at all. Like, it's not down to you. You've done extremely well to go from not playing football at all at the age of 11 or 12 to getting signed for a professional championship team at 14. So you've done really well, but we just don't feel like we don't feel like you're at that level yet. And I think they brought in a keeper from I think Arsenal or Chelsea after that. So understandable, to be honest with you. Like there's nothing you can really do in that situation.
Are you getting paid at that stage?
No, not at that stage. Not at that stage because that's the academy stage. When you get a scholarship, yeah. So I got a scholarship at Aldershot, 16, and then when you get a pro as well, you get paid.
What sort of money is that?
It's not much. Not at Aldershot anyway. It's not much at all. It's not. I don't think it's not. Well, it depends on what type of player you are. If you are a big player coming from a massive team, but like I'm talking about the first team. So if you were a seasoned player with 200 appearances for a championship team or a Premier League team, and then you come to Aldershot, then yeah, they'll pay you fairly well. I wouldn't say it's nothing like 50 grand or 60 grand, but they'll pay you decently. But no, I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it's a lot. But yeah.
And so you faced an injury.
Yes, I did.
And how did that come about?
When I say injury, so it was more of an operation. So I had an operation. So I think I was 19 at the time, in the first team at this point. So playing it in the first team.
In Aldershot?
In Aldershot. Pre-season, playing friendlies. It's going well. Like that was meant to be the season for me to be like, yeah, I'm going to properly establish myself in the first team. And then I just had an operation. It's funny, it got on my eye.
Really?
So so I was rubbing, like, hay fever. You rub your eyes so much, eczema. And I think my eye was just getting bruised up. So they were like, look, we need to do an operation on your eye to sort of take away some skin, basically. So I said, okay, cool. How long is that gonna take? They said, oh no, you'll be out for maybe a month and a half. I said, oh, okay then. So I went back to the team and they said, no, that's fine. Go, you're part of the team, you're in the first team. So I said, okay, great, cool. So I was meant to be back just after the season started. So I said, okay, I planned everything accordingly. Now, the manager got sacked. The first team manager got sacked, which was very unfortunate because when I eventually came back, the first team manager was like, look, you're gonna have to go back to the 23s, essentially.
What does that mean?
That means, like, so if you're in the first team, you have the 23s team, then you have the 18s team.
Okay.
And I was 19 at the time, but they said, yeah, you're gonna have to go back to the 23s team because we are sort of re-establishing the team. We're bringing in our own players, etc. So I was just like, okay, well, this is an interesting situation that I'm in now because I had to sort of work my way up again and again. So that was the downward spiral. That's what sort of initiated the downward spiral in terms of what happened next, which was me inevitably quitting football and leaving, essentially. Well, not quitting, but at the end of my contract, I decided to go down the path of content creation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
How did you deal with that mentally?
I was gonna say, yeah, that was probably, that period of time was the hardest time in my life so far. I would say that was the toughest time in my life. Like that was, and it's funny because I never really speak about it as well, but it was extremely tough. Like every day, like I would go to sleep. Some days I'll just cry, just cry, cry to sleep because for me, it wasn't just about me, if that makes sense. It wasn't just about me wanting to become a footballer. It was about my family, my mum, helping my mum as well with the bills, helping her, sort of, because I know how much my mum puts in sacrifice. She's sacrificed everything for her children. So and just to backtrack, one thing I didn't tell you as well is that during the meeting at QPR, when they sort of said we're not going to offer you a contract, my mum was there. She started crying as well, like next to me. I was okay until I looked left, I saw her crying. I started crying as well. Because I wasn't crying because they released me. I was crying because my mum, I knew how much she put in to get me into QPR. But my mum was crying because she thought I was upset, if that makes sense. I was crying because she's upset. So we were both crying. But it was so when it didn't work out at Aldershot how I wanted it to, and that whole process was tough, like traveling 2 hours a day to Aldershot, having to travel back. Sometimes I'll get home at 1 a.m. after a match, 2 a.m., 3 hours sleep. Sometimes I wouldn't even sleep. I would just stay up and then sleep on the train there. So I'd be up again 5 a.m., go back. So it was that whole process was tough, was grueling. I was only getting 2 hours, 3 hours sleep a day. It was a very, very tough time. There was even, there was a lot of times where I just said, look, I just want to quit football. I just want to do this. But inevitably, I didn't quit until the content came. And I think the content was just such a breath of fresh air at the time. And I started making content during lockdown. So I think at the time of me quitting, I only had, 100,000 followers. So it was a massive risk because at this time, no one knew that you could even make a career out of making content, or no one knew that you could monetize how you can now off of content. So it was a humongous risk that I took, but a risk that paid off in the end.
Did you feel like responsible or felt that you let your mum or parents down when you didn't get through your football career?
Yeah, I would say an element of that. Yeah, at the time, I would say just because they sort of put so much effort into investing. Like at the time, I didn't have, because I was only, as I said, I was only 18, 19, wasn't working any job or anything, so I didn't have any money to pay for the train or anything like that. Obviously, the scholarship money helped, but that all went to paying for the trains or the transport, if that makes sense. As I said, there wasn't much, and the trains at that time, the prices at that time for the trains, £25 a day maybe.
Wow.
For the trains. So all the money that I received or anything was going towards travel, or was going towards football boots, or just food or anything like that.
Did you feel like a failure?
I think there's an element. I wouldn't say to that extent, but I would say there was an element of like it didn't pan out how I thought it was gonna pan out, and there was an element of like, well, what am I gonna do now? Like, what am I actually gonna do? Because I genuinely in my heart and in my mind, I've always believed that I was destined for great things. So I was saying to myself, well, is this it? Is this like what am I gonna do now, if that makes sense? Like what am I destined for? If it's not football, what am I destined for? When I was younger, I said, look, I'm 100% gonna be a footballer, 100%. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me.
So how do you balance, like, people manifesting and all these quotes online that say you can make it, you can be consistent, you can do anything if you believe it enough, and you can achieve it? Where is that line where it's like, hey, that is true to certain things in your life, but there's certain opportunities, like, you can believe it, like, I'm the best in the world at this, but sometimes there's limitations in front of you. Where does that realism come from? What if somebody's watching and thinking, where do I draw the line?
To be honest, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't think there is a line to be drawn. I think if you genuinely believe you can achieve something, I think you can achieve it. I think I'm a big believer in God, and I think if you trust God and you have faith, whatever's meant to happen for you will happen. And I think for me, the football just wasn't meant to happen. I think the content was meant to happen. This was what I was meant to do. And now I realized that. I realized, and I remember at the time, because I went to church and I spoke to my. I still remember this day. The day after I quit football, I went to my church and I said to my pastor, just alone. It was just me, very very late, and my pastor, he's always there, always at the church. So I went very late. I didn't tell him I was coming. I just came. I went there to pray, and I saw him, and he was just like. I said to him, I basically explained the whole situation. And I said to him, everything that you were saying, look, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was destined to become a footballer. He says, well, if you don't become a footballer, that means you were destined for something else. God has another plan for you. You just need to find out what that is. And that's why I think, look, if you are someone who believes you can make it in something, go at it. Don't give up. Like, seriously, just when you're about to give up, that's when things start happening for you. But most people, they will give up too early, or they won't have faith in how things will work out for them, and they just sort of want to be safe. If you don't risk, you won't get the big reward.
I like that. So we're at the stage of you're a content creator full time now.
Yeah.
So you're 19 years old. You got 100,000 followers now. For some people, that's a dream already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you say it very. I was on a.
Well, the thing is, because at the time, even now, it's something I need to work on, because for me, it's like, oh, sorry. For me, it's I'm always on to the next sort of thing, the next achievement. What can I? So 100K, I did not even. When I say I didn't even, I said 100K. Okay, that's good. Boom, on to the next one. I need to get to 200K. I need to get to 300K. I need to get to 400K, 500K. The only time I celebrated was when I hit 1 million. I didn't even celebrate. When I say celebrate, I went live and said, "Yeah, guys, I hit 1 million followers." But no, I didn't celebrate at all, because it's like, and I know that I should, because you have to celebrate the wins in your life, the achievements. But for me, it was, what's the next thing? What's the next thing I can do? I need to get to this. I need to get to that. That's just how I've been. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
No, so what what before we move on to this content creation, I have one more question.
Yeah.
What are football players really like in that changing room?
Oh my gosh. Okay. they're just normal people, to be honest. They're normal lads, if that makes sense. They're normal
Sometimes you
lads.
think they're crazy and they spend all their money on casinos and going
Some of them
wild
do.
and drinking
Some of them do,
and
yeah.
stuff. You know, like, do they have that sense of direction?
No, in terms of a lot of footballers, they're not very. They just spend, if that makes sense. They just spend. They don't really invest. I mean, I'm sure a lot of footballers do, but in my experience, I haven't seen a lot that use it wisely, if that makes sense, like putting property or anything like that.
You see Robbie Fowler, he owns a lot of property, or he
Yeah.
owns half of Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, you got Gary Neville.
Gary Neville owns a lot of property,
you know,
hotels. Yeah.
you just get a couple. But is there that sort of guidance-ship? Like, obviously, you got a manager, you got an agent, but is there like somebody going, "Hey, look, be smart with your money. We know you haven't handled this amount of money." Like, do they have that sort of direction?
Not necessarily, because even at the time, there was not, like, when I was in the team, there was a lot of very seasoned professionals at the time that played for massive teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, all of that, and there was never any talk about money, to be honest with you. Like, no one really talked about it. It was just like, if they wanted to do something, oh, I bought a car. Oh, okay, nice. Like, people, they'll be coming in their very nice sports cars, etc. But no one would speak about money. Oh, did you invest in this? Did you do this? Did you do that? I think everyone just sort of kept that to themselves. So yeah, I don't think there was any sort of talk on that.
Thank you for answering that one, because now I want to ask you is, how was you able to 10 to 15x your followers? So how did you what was the biggest shift? What is that one thing you can say from 100k influencer, how to become a million a million influencer to 1.5 million? Like, is there certain traits or thing that you've noticed that attracted the audience more?
Yeah, so I was speaking general terms in terms of what I think, if you were to go from 100k to a million, what you should do. I think what you should do is 100% engage with your audience. When I say engage, start going live, do live streams. That's what I would say that was the key for me, doing live streams. That's what changed the game, because I started going live at 100k, and then that's when I just grew exponentially, because people, they feel like they're involved, and especially because with the type of content I do, it's more of like a story based type content. It's acting, so they can fall in love with the Dr. Abu character, they can fall in love with the Abu Senior character, with the Ephraim character, and they can sort of be emotionally invested in these characters. So then when they see these characters go live on TikTok or on Instagram on live stream, they can comment and sort of have that thought process in their head that these are real people, these are real characters. It's almost like a show, like, you know, like a Big Bang Theory show, or, you know, like any sitcom show that you would see. You get emotionally invested in the characters, and I think that's what I've tried to do with the characters that I have now. And as I said, in more general terms, I think you just need to sort of engage with your audience. I think that's the key. Like, a lot of influencers and creators, they just make videos. They don't necessarily go live often, or they don't really engage, respond back to comments, respond to DMs, etc. And I think that's the key. Just engage with your
How do you
audience.
respond to all your DMs? You must get about 50.
Not all of them. So no, not all of them. Because I think I used to try and, reply back to as many as possible. But I think now, because I think I get maybe 400 a day now on Instagram, so it's very tough to obviously, reply back to all of them. But just when you can respond back, make people feel, because, at the end of the day, we're all people, we're all normal people. So just have a conversation with them, have time for your audience and your supporters, because they're the ones that are paying for your lifestyle. They're the ones that sort of, without them, you won't be in the position you are now. So that's the priority,
And how do you do this all organic? Like, do you do this all organically, or do you do paid adverts, sponsored adverts, or anything of that nature?
No. So I don't do paid ads. I think that's not a way to sort of do it, because if you do paid ads, that will mess up your algorithm forever, in my opinion. I think because the algorithm, especially on TikTok, the algorithm will notice that you are paying for ads, so that they'll dim your videos down, so that you can pay for more ads, so that you can get views. So I think the best thing to do is just grow organically. That's the key. And if you want a large fan base, like a really, really large fan base, one that is loyal to you, and that will follow you in whatever you do, you have to do it organically.
Ephraim, you've had an incredible content creation sort of journey. When was that first moment that you thought, wow, I've got an email or a phone call from somebody who wants me to do this for them and I'm gonna get paid, like,
My first brand deal.
first brand deal? Because like I had a message the other day,
Yep.
just to share it with you, and they
Yeah.
go, we're from First Direct Bank.
Okay.
We liked your page. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I had to Google the person and the company to make sure it was real.
Yeah.
But it was like for free 20-second to 30-second reels, it was like $2,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's a
how it is.
salary for someone's month.
That's how it is. Yeah,
You know? And so how was that first feeling for you, and who was it? Or talk to us a little bit about it.
So my first brand deal was with, who was it? I know who it was with. I think it was with ExpressVPN. So ExpressVPN is like a brand where if you log into if you have an account, you can sort of watch videos from all other countries, if that makes sense, and you can appear as if you're in another country.
Okay.
So that was my first one, and that wasn't for a lot. I think it was for $1,000, but it was a really good feeling, really, really good feeling, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting £1,000.
How many
And
followers did you have?
I think I had like 350K,
Okay.
350K, yeah. So and that's when I first got an agent as well, like an actual agent. So I don't have an agent now, and I'll tell you why.
Yes.
But that's when I first got an agency. Sorry, and yeah, within a month they were just like, yeah, we got your first brand deal. It's with ExpressVPN. It's for £1,000. All you have to do is just make a 20-second vid. I said 20 seconds. They was like, yeah, 20 seconds. I said, okay, great. So then, yeah, just did the 20-second video, and then like 15 days later, I see £1,000 in my account.
Wow.
And I'm just like, wow, that is insane. And this was before the creator fund or anything like that. So to see that for the first time, you're just like, and especially because because you didn't start to make money off of TikTok. You just started because you just love making videos. And that's still something that is my thought process now. Like, I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for anything like that. I just do it because I just like making people laugh, making people smile. So yeah, seeing that amount of money at the time was very good. And I think when I realized that this was like, wow, I can actually make a career out of this, or this is my life now, is when I did a collab with Disney. That's when it was like,
Come on.
wow.
That's big.
That was the crazy one, yeah. That was the crazy one.
Come on, man. So what? Disney just call you up?
Yeah, just called me, and so it was in collaboration with another. So usually, a lot of the time, with Disney, or they will want you to collab with like another massive organization. So at the time, I'm collabing with an organization called VT, and then they said, look, we want you to fly out to America and meet Tiffany Haddish, Jamie Lee Curtis. I said, fly out to America? You want to fly me out to America? Yeah. I was just like, that is insane. So I was,
what tickets did they get you on the plane?
First class, business
First
class.
class,
Yeah.
Damn.
Business class. So that's why it was the first time doing business class, everything. It was incredible, the whole experience. And then when we got there was black SUVs waiting for us. It was insane. And then we got to the hotel. The hotel was beautiful, absolutely beautiful hotel. And then you'll have your name, Ephraim Lisk. Like, it was incredible, absolutely incredible. And then the tab, they gave us like a £500 tab every night for food, for drink, everything. It was incredible, absolutely incredible.
Did you go alone?
No. So I went with a camera, like a photographer, videographer at the time. So someone that was helping with the photos, videos. But yeah, I went alone in terms of like interviewing them and everything. Yeah, I went alone. But it was good. It was really, really great experience. I met Tiffany Haddish, Jamie Lee Curtis.
What does she do?
Tiffany Haddish.
Yes.
So she's an actor. She was actually in Bad Boys 4, so the recent Bad Boys film with Will Smith and everything.
Because I saw you with this lady, and then there was another lady.
Yeah.
It was that was the interview,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And she kept going, "Shall I let you guys get along with it?" You know.
Yeah, exactly. So let me tell you about that. I was not expecting that at all. When I went there, so Disney will brief you on, because obviously when you do an interview, you have to be briefed like some things you can't say, some things you have to be careful of, etc. So they briefed us, like, look, Tiffany Haddish, Jamie Lee Curtis, Oscar winner. Tiffany Haddish has obviously done films with Kevin Hart. She's one of the biggest female actors in Hollywood. So it was a big thing. And Lakeith Stanfield was there. Obviously, he wasn't on camera, but he was just walking by. He's like, "Yo, man." And it's like, and Lakeith Stanfield is another huge actor as well. So it was a surreal experience. And when I sat down, she really liked the suit. Like before the I don't even know if I should say this, but like before the interview, she was like, "That's a nice suit, man. A nice suit." But we had a little conversation before, and yeah, the interview just went really, really well. It didn't go how I thought it was gonna go, because I think Tiffany wanted to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
So no, it was good, but you can see in the interview I was sort of taken aback. I was just like, wow, like, what am I even meant to say here? Because I think I said, what am I thinking of right now? She's like, how pretty I am. I was like, okay. In the corner of my eye, the Disney executive did us like, what did she say? What's going on? Like, everyone was just confused. And then I started playing back a bit as well. And everyone, all the Disney, they were all laughing, like off camera. So it was a good experience. It's a really good experience. And Disney really liked the interview. Like, they told me afterwards, like, that was
It's different.
really, really
It's
good.
different.
Yeah.
It is entertaining because you're like, she wants to eat you. That's what I felt like. I'm like, this lady's a lot older, but really nice. And she was like, who's this young, tall, handsome man in front of me? And that lady was powerful.
No, yeah, it was really good. And I think that's why they invited me back to interview Ariana DeBose. So in London, they called me again. And they're like, hello, Ephraim. We wanted to interview Ariana DeBose, sorry, and the Disney directors for Wish, for the new Wish movie. I was like, okay, great. So I went to the hotel in London, and they literally, so I drove, they said, are you driving? I said, yeah. They said, when you come, just let us know. So I let them know that I was there. They came with like these people that took my car key, parked my car for me. They brought me in. They made me feel welcome, and they're like, "Okay, cool, your interview's in 5 minutes." And yeah, Disney are really, really good when it comes to hospitality, etc. And all the other big corporations like Paramount as well. So I've interviewed Toby Nigwe and Anthony Ramos for the Transformers movie. Transformers is my favorite. That's my favorite childhood movie franchise. So I was so excited for that. I was so excited. But yeah, I think I've had some good experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that you notice with these big stars? Because these guys have got millions and millions of followers on big platforms. They're obviously earning loads of money. What do you see that the one thing that these stars have?
I would say their mentality. Their mentality is very different to how someone that doesn't have that thinks. I would say, because just to go back to the America trip as well. So after the interviews, it's funny because Tiffany actually invited me to her tea party that she was having, but I had to fly back the next day after that, so I couldn't go. But just before I flew out, I had, like, on a night out, I went out with some other people that I met there. So they were coming to, like, Disney invited them from America, from Canada, etc. And they were very, very nice. They were very, very nice. And they gave me a lot of great advice because they're in the industry as well. And they just said to me, look, the fact that you're even here because I was 20 at the time, they said the fact that you're even here at 20 is great. You just need to, because I was asking, I said, what advice would you give for someone like me that's trying to, obviously I'm trying to just make my way build up the ranks, maybe become an actor myself one day, etc. They said, look, the fact that you're even here at 20 is insane. Like they said, they don't know what they was doing at 20. So just keep on doing what you're doing, keep on working hard, and don't care what other people think or say. You know, unless it's constructive criticism. Don't care what people say, because they may just be saying it just to put you down, or you know, they would just say it how they would approach the situation. So just continue what you're doing, work hard, keep consistent, and have faith.
Can I ask a little bit about your friend circle?
Yeah.
In terms of, there's certain people who will support you end and end, and there's some people who you're just shocked by, and you go, they don't want to support you, they don't want to talk to you no more, they want to keep you to where they had you, and as soon as you start flying off, it's not on their conditions anymore, you know. And yeah, you take the dance floor, bro. How is it with your friend circle? Have you had just supporters around you?
Yeah, so I would say I'm quite lucky in the sense of my friendship group they're very, very mature people, very mature people. Like they are hardworking, and they're the most important thing for me is you have to have good character and good morals. You know, you have to have the right intention with doing things. That's even how I view relationships as well, which we'll get onto, as you said. But it's like, it's all about the intent for me. It's not really about the position you're in now. It's about the intent. Where do you want to go in life? Because you can have friends that they can work at a bar, they can work at anything. You know, it doesn't matter. They can be a dustbin driver. It doesn't matter. What's the intent that you have in your life? Because that coincides with your character and your morals. What you would cross the line to actually do, what you wouldn't do. So for me, as I said before, my friendship group is very mature. They know what they want to do in their life. It's not like they're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do and all that. They are people that don't smoke, don't drink, they don't do any of that. They don't even party. We actually rarely see each other because we're always doing something. We're always working. We're always just on the ball. And I think that has greatly benefited myself as well, because I'm proud to even call them my friends, because every time people ask me, I'm just like, yeah, look, my friends are great, man. My friends are amazing. That being said, look, of course, there's been people that have changed up, that have switched up on me. But that's bound to happen. You know, I think, as I said, I don't take anything personally. I really don't. If someone was to double cross me or sort of betray my trust, I'm someone that, and my friends know this as well, I'm someone that's just like, okay, that's it, done. Lock off contact, everything. And the same will go for a talking stage or a relationship. You know, if they were to cross a boundary or anything, then that's it. I wouldn't even. I'm not someone who argues or anything like that. That's it. Well,
you walk away from that situation.
Walk away. That's it. Yeah, let's walk away. So, yeah, I would say in summary, my friends are hardworking, honest people that want to make it great in life, and they will 100%.
But sometimes not all of your friends are like that.
No, yeah, sure.
You know, and you'll meet that little anomaly, and you want to bring that person up and make them better and help them, and you try to fix certain people.
Which I've tried to do in the past, but I've realized some people just don't want to be helped. They don't want to be helped at all. You just need to just let them do what they do. If they don't want to change, then that's them. Because you can't help everyone in this world, you know. Because if you try and help everyone, they'll drag you down with them. Some people don't want to be helped. So just have to keep that in mind when you navigate life.
So how do you take that responsibility off yourself, because you're just trying to be a good friend?
Well, the thing is, it comes down to the friends you have as well. Like I've seen in certain places online, podcasts, there's a lot of people that they feel like, as a friend, and the thing is, this is actually quite a interesting topic, because some people may disagree with me, but a lot of people believe if you have a friend, you're obligated to help them achieve in life. I disagree. I think it comes down to the person. Like if they want to make it in life, it comes from within them. You know, I think me as a friend, of course, I will. I'm not saying I will not help or anything like that. I will do whatever I need to do to help, but I can't help you if you don't help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of people online, or I've seen. I'm not saying everyone, but I've just seen it just through experiences as well. Some people feel a bit obligated, or they feel a bit like you owe them something just because you're friends with them, which I don't think is the case.
That's the right way. So let's talk a little bit about you're traveling now and you're doing public speaking.
Yeah.
You know, what got you into public speaking, bro?
So my mentor, Justin James. So I've known Justin for quite a while now, for a few years. I think the first time, do you know what's actually crazy? I've only been to Wood Green twice. The first time was to meet Justin James. And he essentially, we wasn't close like that initially. But then I think when we did the fragrance launch for the Lisk perfume, he spoke at the event. And as I said, I knew Justin James obviously before because we have the fragrance brand in partnership. But that's the first time I heard him speak at that event. And I said to H, my older brother, I said, he's good. Like, he's really, really good. And I think after the whole America trip, and when we launched in Stratford as well, the fragrance store, he just said to me, "Look, come down and speak. Like, come down and learn how to speak." He thinks it would be greatly beneficial for my brand, especially because with the entrepreneurship as well. And I think it's one of the best things I've ever done, to be honest with you, because learning how to articulate yourself properly to the audience, to people around you, in business meetings, in seminars, in conferences, it really benefits you, and it sort of propels you to a greater position in terms of what you can do with your audience. So yeah, I think, and then obviously from me doing the speaker school, I did a talk in Singapore, which was one of the best experiences that I've ever done.
So what sort of talk did you do? What was it, on what topic?
So the talk was how to build a brand, how to build an online brand, even if you have zero experience or you don't know where to start. And it was also a talk about motivation and my journey within transitioning from football to content creation to entrepreneurship to public speaking. So it was just about that transition. And it was honestly a fantastic experience, absolutely fantastic experience. Like, just before I went on stage, everyone was sort of, because some people saw me just before I got, they said, "We're so excited, Ephraim, we're so excited." And it was just a surreal experience. It was when I was on stage, I'm not gonna lie to you, I forgot everything. I forgot everything I planned because I was just nervous. I was absolutely nervous. But then it came back to me afterwards. But yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Did you do any of your comedy skits in there?
No, I did it for like a few seconds. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen," and everyone started screaming. I was not expecting that until everyone started, "Oh my god," because they all knew about Dr. Abu before, and yeah, it was a fantastic. But most of the time, I was just using my normal voice. Even to this day, some people actually don't know this is my normal voice. They think the Dr. Abu voice is my normal voice because I joke around a bit with that. But yeah, it was a surreal experience. Absolutely amazing.
While we're on this international experience bit of your journey, I want to ask you: has there been a time where you've tried to land a joke and it hasn't gone your way?
Not that I can remember, to be honest with you. I think all the jokes, because I'm doing it in the Dr. Abu character, you can look at him and you'll just laugh most of the time. So anything I say in the Dr. Abu character, it just seems like it's funnier, if that makes sense. Like, if I was just to talk, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen," if I was just to talk in this accent, then people would just find it funny. Do you understand? Like, if I was to say, I don't know, if I saw someone and I was to say, "Look at your shoelaces," they might not find it funny. But if I was to say, "Look at your shoelaces, look," You know, people will just find, you know what I mean? It's just that the accent will find
What
it.
is this?
Yeah, what's this nonsense? Look at
Yes.
it. You can't even tie your own shoelaces. You understand? So, something
Wow,
like that.
man.
So I wouldn't say a joke has not landed. There's been jokes where they haven't got the laugh that I thought they were going to, but as I said, you need to just have confidence in your jokes at the same time. Just like a stand-up comedian. Like when you saw me last week, that was the first time I ever did stand-up comedy, like ever on set. And it was very different to online, because when you're online, you only see the laughing emojis. You don't see people physically laughing, or you don't see when people don't laugh, if that makes sense. Like there was times I was on stage, where I was just seeing people, they were just straight face like that, and I was like, okay, am I doing this joke properly? What am I doing? You know, so it's good. It was a good experience, good learning experience.
You won that whole crowd over, man.
Thank you.
There was nearly 100 people in that room, sort of thing, and you were just like, you had everybody there. By the end of it, people were clapping, people wanted to take pictures with you, people wanted to make TikToks with you. Like, even I was there, I was like, yo, I'm with Dr. Abu, I'll put you on my story straight away. Like, and people messaged me going, I love this guy, bro. Is he coming on the podcast? I was like, of course he's coming on the podcast. Like, we're gonna make this one happen, like, for real. Like, but because I hadn't come across you before then, and purely because I'm just a creator than a consumer, really. You know, I like to just create, and then I'm just too busy. You know,
like me, yeah. That's like me.
That's how we are.
Yeah.
But it is important to look at content as well, because the other night I was laying on the sofa and I thought I'm gonna watch some TV today, and that's not a normal thing for me. So I put on Netflix and I put on who's the guy who did Pirates of the Caribbean? Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp, yeah.
And he was going through his legal battle with, you know,
the lady. I
yeah.
Her name. Yeah.
And so when I saw the editing, I was like, this is not the most professional editing, but it's relatable with today's crowd. There was a gamer who was commenting on it, making skits, and it was funny emojis. So I was like, rah, the world's changed.
It's changed. It's really changed, because now you're seeing, like, even I went to see Bad Boys and I saw about 5 influencers in there. Influencers that no acting experience, and they've just managed to get in a role. They're working with Will Smith, you know, which is insane. And I even saw a new Netflix series yesterday. I saw about 6-7 influencers in there. So the world is changing. The way the world is, it's really changing. I think the power of social media, like if you're not on social media and you don't have a platform as a business, in about 3, even less, 2 years, it's gonna be tough for you. It's gonna be really, really tough. I think you need an online presence nowadays, and that's what I went to actually speak to them in Singapore about. You know, to say, look, if you are a business, or if you are an individual that has a sort of product or service that you do, it is in your best interest to have a platform online, or have a sort of following or an audience, because you can 10x your profits margins, or your net profit by 10x if you just literally have a profile or have a platform where you can showcase your product or your service. So that's what I told them, and they were really, like, they really understood. They were very engaging, asking questions, putting their hand up. Yeah, it was really good. It's really good.
It's powerful because a few months ago I had Terry Stone here.
Yeah.
He's an actor and a producer of The Rise of the Foot Soldier.
Yeah.
And he's done quite a few sequels. And he said one of his first movies cost me, he said, around the 200,000 mark just to promote it with advertisement.
Yeah.
And he said by the time I got to the second, third movie, it was costing him a fraction of that. Purely because he got the right influencers on board and they were sharing it on their platforms, and he got the views that way.
Literally.
So it's a really good business decision in terms of you can use people with massive platforms, advertisements done that way as well, and you got all this advertisement with all these different audience knowing about where you're going to be appearing next.
Yeah, because look, nowadays you're seeing brands dish out 25k, 30k to influencers with like 1 million followers, 2 million followers, just to promote a 1-minute video. Because look, their Super Bowl, for a 30-second ad, it's about 5 million.
Wow.
And if you actually think about it, if you weigh up, because would it be better to now? I'm not saying one or the other, but would it be better to pay an influencer that has very good engagement, that has 2 million followers? So most likely, hopefully, 1 million people will see it. Let's just say 1 million people see it. That is worth, in my opinion, 50, 60 grand. If he has good engagement, or she has good engagement, that's worth a lot of money. So the game is changing. It really is changing. In the next year or two, if you're a top level influencer and you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money.
Can I ask you what's the biggest paycheck you've got? You don't have to tell, but
if
who?
you guess, I will say higher and lower.
I don't know. Like you got 1.5 million followers. You know, you get a couple of 100,000 views to 1 million views. I don't know. If I've seen the offer that's been on the table for a micro influencer, I'd probably say maybe 20 grand.
Does it have to be whether I've accepted it or not?
No, it doesn't have to be
Oh,
accepted.
higher.
Okay,
Yeah,
higher.
yeah.
So that's one of these vape companies, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I would never accept a vape company or anything like
And
that.
that's like selling your soul to the devil, is it?
Yeah, no, because it's just my audience. Like, I don't vape, so why would I promote vaping? Or like, I don't drink, why would I promote a drinking company? You know, it doesn't really. I will never promote something that I don't promote. As I said, I've been offered I've been offered numbers for one video that would be ridiculous, like 3 years worth of wages, you know, just to promote a 1 minute video. But no, because yeah, it just doesn't align with my brand, if that makes sense.
I understand
You know
that.
what I mean? Like, that's the key for me.
So you met Robert Kiyosaki, yeah?
Yeah, it was
How was
great.
that?
It was good. He was honestly very nice, very friendly guy. So how that happened, him and his team invited me to attend his London seminar, and then his one in Germany. And he's a really nice guy. He's very very direct, very very direct guy, in terms of how he speaks and everything. Because I think he was in the army. I think he said, but when I met him and had a conversation with him, he was really really nice guy, really nice. I had a conversation with his team. His team actually they all follow me online, so they'll probably see this as well. But yeah, no, it's really really friendly people.
You have his number in your book.
Not Robert Kiyosaki's number, no. But as I said, his team, like, I speak to one member of his team. I speak to quite regularly. Quite nice. Even Abang Abu. So he's the one that flew me out to Singapore as well. So he's someone that has taught me a lot as well. He's taught me
Is
absolutely a lot.
international audience different?
Yeah, I would say it's quite different. They're well, in Singapore anyways, they're very. So I got told just before that Singapore is the toughest audience, like toughest audience. And when I went, they were very, very engaging. But I think it had something to do with because I was coming. They knew I was a comedian as well, like Dr. Abu. So they were already excited, if that makes sense. They were already pumped up. But yeah, I would say the UK audience is great. I think they're all great. I think all the people I've spoken to, they've all been amazing. I think the hardest talk I've ever done was actually in a school, like in a school to the year sixes or the year fives, because a lot of them they don't really know what they want to do yet, etc. They're quite like reserved to themselves. But yeah, all the talks I've done have been very, very great. I've learned a lot from all of them. Yeah, and I'm excited to do more.
So you're an award winner now.
Yes.
How did that feel?
Felt amazing. It felt absolutely amazing. When I got nominated for the acting, right? Yeah. So when I got nominated for best influencer actor in the UK, I said I got nominated. Like, how? Why? Like, I just wasn't expecting that at all. So I didn't even make a big deal out of it. And then they contacted me. So I knew before they contacted me. Then they contacted me like, "Hello, you got nominated for best influencer actor. The award ceremony is it's in Newcastle on this date. The voting pool starts on this date. So hopefully we'll see you there. Can you please confirm your attendance? Well, I said, yeah. So then, and then an article came out as well. And then I was just like, wow, this is actually sort of happening.
Come on.
And then the date came closer and closer and closer. And I was just like, imagine I actually win. Like I said to my brother, I said, imagine I actually win. But he just said, look, go there. It's your first sort of thing that you've been nominated for. And I also got nominated for top celebrity influencer as well.
Wicked.
So it was like a double nomination. So I said to my brother, look, I'm just gonna go there, enjoy myself, meet the other candidates, because there was someone with I think 6 million followers that got nominated. There was a footballer, a phobie, that got nominated as well. So like a lot of big people that got nominated. So I said, look, I'm just gonna go there, enjoy myself, not gonna expect anything. I'm just gonna, because it's my first time being nominated. I've only been doing content for 2 years, 2.5 years, like only full time a year. And then when I went there and they said, and the best influencer actor in the UK goes to Ephraim, I just said, whoa. I was so excited. My brother was there behind me, shaking me.
Come
but
on.
it was great. And then when I went on stage, obviously, thank God, I thanked my family, I thanked all my supporters as well, because without them, this obviously wouldn't have been the case. So, and acting, the reason that I was so happy, because with acting, I really devote my time to actually get the character right, the Dr. Abby character right, and just work on my acting every day. So I was really happy with that one. And then to my surprise, 3 minutes later, the lady, so I was there taking pictures with the one award, and then the lady said, Ephraim, can you come and sit down again, please? My brother was like, what? Did you win again? I said, no, let's just wait. Let's just see. And then they said, best top celebrity influencer award goes to Ephraim again.
Oh,
and I was just like, oh my gosh, double nomination. I couldn't believe it.
Bro.
I absolutely couldn't believe it. And then I posted the pictures online. Everyone was like, oh my gosh. And a lot of people reached out to me. Like a lot of top influencers reached out to me and was like, listen, congratulations, man. Like, that's good. It's really the top best influencer actor in the UK. I was just like, wow. But as I said, going back to what I said previously, I'm someone who was like, okay, what's the next thing now? So I was happy, but I said, okay, cool. I need to continue working hard, continue down the pathway to get to the next stage. So that's what I'm doing.
So all this hard work with building yourself, your brand, you're becoming a very attractive man in terms of, obviously you're good looking in real life, real person, but you've also got the personality, you got some money rolling in, you got businesses started, you got a fragrance that you've started also, and that's popping off. And I've actually bought that Lisk before, you know that?
Oh, is it?
Because I've seen it and I was like, and it just clicked. I'm like, that's your bloody brand. I didn't even know. Is it Lisk X?
Liskio,
Yeah. Like, I've seen it and I was like, okay, so I've tied that up. So how do you know how to attract the right partner with that? Because there's a lot of women who's going to be just attracted to you and for the wrong things. So how do you know?
Yeah, I think it's down to, you just need to understand what you want, in a person. For me, I want someone that is loyal, someone that is understanding, someone that their character and their morals are in line with what mine are. And that, as I said, it comes down to the intent. And as you said, it's very tricky to find that nowadays as well, because I'm now in a position where no matter what, they're going to sort of be influenced by what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So even if they didn't know who I was, when they find out, it's impossible not to sort of say, okay, but he has this, if that makes sense. So it is tricky. But for me, at the moment, I've just been, or as of, leading up till now, I've just been focusing on setting down the foundations. That's why I told you I don't party, I don't smoke, I don't drink. Because I've always said I'm going to do all of that later. I'm not gonna smoke or drink or like ever, but I'm gonna party and have fun, all of that later. Set the foundations now, so that I can put myself in the best possible position. But as you said, it is tricky nowadays, and everyone is human. Look, there are a lot of days actually where I'm just like, oh, I wish I had someone to spend time with, or to celebrate this sort of achievement with, in terms of a partner, obviously. Obviously my siblings are there and everything, but a partner, just to celebrate my sort of wins with, or Valentine's Day. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. But you can't have everything in this world. You need to sort of, life goes by decisions. I've decided to go down this path of working hard, getting to a certain position. It's worked out well for me, but you can't have everything at once. And as I said to you before, when God's time, when he says the right time is, that's when it will happen. So yeah, I think when it comes to that, there's certain things I look for. You just need to be picky, as in you need to know what you want exactly. Don't settle for less. Because if you settle for less as well, I think that's not a good thing, because it will come back to sort of haunt you. So just know what you want, and yeah, it will come.
Amazing. This has been absolutely a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
And lastly, what are things to come from yourself? So tell us a little bit about your goals, or what you want to achieve. Sort of what path are you going down?
Yeah, so in terms of my goals, as I said, I'm someone who's I wouldn't necessarily say my goals out to people. Like if they were to ask me, oh, so what are you going to do in the next year? I wouldn't necessarily say. But what I will say is I'm looking to continue inspiring people, continue what I'm doing in terms of just trying to influence the world to be a better place, influence people to be a better place, be a good role model to the younger generation. Continue to expand my businesses, continue to grow my page. I also want to do more stuff in the mainstream media as well. So that's what I'm looking to sort of do, and hopefully that comes to fruition in the near future.
That's been absolutely brilliant. If you look straight into your camera and let
Yes.
people know how to follow you.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, Ephraim Lisk _. You can find me on TikTok, Dr. Abu Official. Snapchat is Liskio1, and my YouTube is Dr. Abu. So if you have enjoyed this podcast with myself and Sean, then please give it a like, give it a comment, and yeah, I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
Do you know what? You've just taken my speech, because I'm always like, if you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and share this with someone who really needs it. But I think we're gonna slice Dr. Abu at the start of this,
and then the end.
I think Dr. Abu needs to do a little speech on the subscribe. So if you're enjoying this podcast right now,
just stop right there. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you are enjoying this podcast, in fact, I don't care whether you've enjoyed this or not, so click the like button and subscribe. Because let me tell you something. If you don't, the beating you receive will be tantalizing. Foolishness.
Come on, bro.
Thank you, man.
That's been absolutely brilliant, guys. And we catch you on the next one. We're going to be bringing you even more bigger influences, such as Dr. Abu. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share this for people, and let's blow this thing up, man. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Peace.